Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2018 horror film The Demonologist, a film that is written and directed by J.M. Stelly and stars Brian Krause, who's a bit of a horror movie veteran when it comes to his movie making. And this film stars Brian Krause as a police detective called Damien. Yes, he really is called Damien in a film called The Demonologist. And it focuses on him, and he's on the hunt of a particularly brutal serial killer who is killing people in very ritualistic ways, removing body parts, etc., painting blood all over the walls, the usual thing. And as it turns out, the further he gets into this case, there is a realization that there may or may not be more connected to him than he first thought, and his purpose on this earth has got a deeper meaning, and his bloodline may well be linked to Lucifer himself, and he might have a greater purpose in the sense of he might have to protect the world from evil demons that are trying to take over everything. That's a very, very basic outline of this film. Now, The Demonologist is quite an odd film. There's quite a lot here to enjoy in this film, and I do think it's actually quite a well-made film for the most part. But it's also a very confused film and frustrating film in parts, because there's too much going on with it, and there's too many storylines going on at one time, and it kind of struggles to rein them all in. It's a bit of a cross, this film, between End of Days, the Arnie film, an episode of Supernatural, the TV show, and Constantine. Those three things, put them in a pot, stir them up, and you get The Demonologist, but with a smaller budget. I mean, to be honest, even the Supernatural episodes, which I'm a huge fan of, looks more polished than this for the most part, but it does a decent job. This film suffers quite a lot with pacing issues. It's too slow paced, there's too much dialogue, and you just kind of just want it to get to the parts where it's good versus evil sort of thing, and it never really gets there. And when it does get there, it destroys the pacing when it gets to something good, because it goes into like these flashbacks. He keeps having these flashbacks, Damien, of his past life and when he was younger, and because he doesn't realise he's just a police detective, he doesn't realise that he's got a greater purpose, and his life has basically been mapped out for him, because he's this great saviour, which again didn't make an awful lot of sense. If he was so pivotal to stop these demons from, marching across the earth and taking over, why did he not get a reveal earlier than what he did? I mean, he's almost 50. He looks like 50 in this film. Leaving it a bit till he's a bit long in the tooth before telling him that he's got all these great powers, etc. I did think, for the most part, the effects on the show here were pretty good. The effects for the demons were pretty good. Some of the gore effects were pretty good. Occasionally it did look a bit cheap, I'm not going to lie. It did look like a few stock effects were being used, but I thought for the most part it wasn't actually bad, and it was of decent quality. And like I said, this film suffers terribly from too many storylines going off at once. You've got like this demon political storyline going on, all these demons trying to take control. You've got this police detective storyline going on. You've got this storyline with his wife and his mother-in-law, storyline with his partner. There's all these storylines going off, and it really, really struggles, this film, to contain them all and make them make sense, and it feels a bit messy. And my comparison to the TV show, if you watch the TV show Supernatural, you know how the demons in that show transfer between hosts, and basically they come out of the mouth and then the other person swallows them. Well, they've kind of stolen that in this film as well, and I mean literally stolen it. It's exactly, even to the black eyes. The demon goes down and the black eyes kick in. I just thought that was a bit cheap. I think they could have been a bit more creative about how that happened. And to say that he was supposed to be this veteran cop, he's got lousy instincts, because every betrayal in this film you can see coming a mile away. it to me it wasn't subtle at all, and this film was very, very predictable in a lot of ways, and a lot of the portrayals were very predictable. And he's supposed to be this, veteran cop, and he's got the lousiest instincts I've ever seen for a cop, really. So, after saying that, it sounds actually like that I've complained a lot about this film, and it does have a lot of issues, this film, but it makes a good attempt. It almost tries too hard, because it's thrown a bit too much into the mix, and it kind of ruins the pacing here and there. It's almost, I can't remember the name of it now. There was a vampire film I reviewed last year where that was similar to this. The pacing was completely ruined until it actually got to the good bits at the end, where he actually became a huge vampire hunter. And it's almost the same with this. When this realization of who he is and what he can do kicks in, it's a better film. And I think it should have got to that earlier, and they should have upped the action and horror at that point. But it's not a terrible film. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I think it could have been better. This could potentially have been a 7.5 out of 10. I think if they'd have put a little bit more effort in and focused a little bit more on the things that I've talked about. So that is my review for The Demonologist. I think it's certainly worth checking out. I did have a little bit of fun watching this film, so I hope you enjoyed this review, and I shall see you next time on Screen Stars.